Hey, what's up, people? It's your boy Philko here. And this is going to be the introduction to the YouTube series that will be called Philko in Russia. Each episode, including this introduction, will be at least 25 minutes long. I will try my best to explain everything that I can as clearly as possible. I will be sure to speak slowly, slower than I usually do. And I will also be sure to use this recording method, which I believe sounds much better than when I make the other videos with my laptop. So right now I'm using my phone, and this is how I'm going to do it. This audio series will be at least, I don't know if to call it audio series or video series. Maybe I'll add some photos and stuff, but it's still kind of an audio series. I'm not exactly sure how long how many episodes I will have in this audio series, but I'm thinking at least 40 episodes. Each episode will reveal something I never mentioned before. Each episode, including this introduction. Now my phone just kind of cut off, but okay, everything's fine. Gotta keep my eye on the phone. So let's get to it. Why waste time? Okay. So the introduction. I feel before I get to the normal chapters, I basically need to let you guys know what I thought about Russia, or what I thought about going to Russia prior to ever even going or thinking about actually going. You need to understand my mentality on Russia before I ever even thought about arriving. You understand? So chapter 1 is basically going to start talking about what made me even consider going to Russia. So right now I'm going to talk about everything else prior that deals with Russia before me ever even thinking about actually going or wanting to go. So, Brooklyn, New York, where I lived in a big-ass house. Well, the house was reasonably big, at least to me. Growing up, we were kind of poor. It was like me. Damn, like when I was real little, until I was like maybe 4 years old, we lived in a basement. And it was me, three brothers actually. Me, 3 brothers, 1 sister, mother and father. And I don't remember much about this apartment basement thing at all. I just know it was kind of crappy. And only reason I know this is from home videos. My father loved, making videos and stuff ever since he was younger. As soon as he can afford a video camera, he bought one. And so I remember seeing videos of me when I was like 2, 3 years old in this old, dingy looking, just nasty ass looking basement. And from there, this is when my memory started working. We moved to another place, I guess, when I was like 4. And this was a normal apartment. It was in a dangerous neighborhood, though, just like the last one. But, we weren't in a basement. We were on the second floor on top of a laundromat. And this was on Flatbush Avenue. All the places I lived, they're all around Prospect Park. All of them. All somewhere like within a 3-street radius of Prospect Park. All of them were close to it, but on different sides of the park. It was pretty dangerous. House got broken into, gunshots and shit. These things, I kind of got used to. But it wasn't only because of where I lived. Mostly, I got used to dangerous situations in dangerous neighborhoods. I got used to it from visiting my other family members. Like visiting my grandmother and my aunt, and I mean, Jesus Christ. Like you hear and see some crazy stuff back in the day. Crack was still kind of popping back in 92, 93. It was still crazy. It was still, the murder rate and stuff was still really high. So yeah. So then the third place I moved to was when my father was kind of moving up. He was the superintendent of a building. We moved to a nice apartment. It had 2 bathrooms. That was pretty gangster. It had 2 bathrooms, 1 normal bathroom and 1 other bathroom in the master bedroom, which was cool, I never saw anything like that. And that's when my father started to get some money. And then I guess he hit the jackpot, work-wise. And we got a house. And when I say a house, I mean a house. I mean 2 floors, basement, no attic though, but 2 floors, basement in Brooklyn. Good neighborhood, Kensington. Also known as some other weird name. I forgot what they call it, but we call it Kensington. 42 Caton Place. You could Google it. The house is beautiful. Caton Place, 11218. And we moved there, and he fell in love with this lady. They got married. Her family came, lived with us, then they left. Then the house at some point was just me and him. At that time, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms in total in the whole house. It was just me and him. I had a workout room. I had a video game room, and my dad had good money, so I just went crazy. But now let's get to when the whole Russian thing started to even come to mind, whether the language or the people, anything that deals with Russia. This is when it started coming to my mind. I believe I was 18 years old. I was 18, and I had a girlfriend. And her name was Bran. Now, Bran wasn't Russian or anything like that. She wasn't. Bran was actually younger than me. Because I'm so short and, I look younger than I am, I tended to date younger girls all the time because the girls my age, they weren't into me, and they always thought, I was too small or whatever. So at the time, Bran was 15, I was 18, but you'll never know that when you looked at us. And I guess you could say I liked her. She was very pretty, but she wasn't my type fully. I knew she liked one of my good friends. She had a crush on him, and I believed she was cheating on me, when I wasn't around. I know she was, but because I had very low self-esteem, I just dealt with it because I needed somebody. I wasn't very good with girls when I was that age. I wasn't very good. I even watched them touch each other and play around in front of me, and I just took it because there's nothing I can do. It's either I deal with that or I leave her, and I didn't want to leave her because I didn't want to be alone. But one day, me and Bree, we decided to go to this party, and this party was at my friend Bert's house. Bert was a dude I knew for some time, since I moved to that neighborhood. Cool guy, Puerto Rican dude. He was kind of fat at the time, and he liked to rap, and we loved to play Smash Brothers and stuff all the time. All we did was play Smash Brothers. Me, him, Charles, we just loved playing Smash Brothers. That's all we did was play Smash Brothers. And so while we were at this party, as we were going to this party, we walk in, me, Bran, we walk into Bert's apartment where the party is. And as we walk in, I remember looking to my right, and I saw this extremely gorgeous, just, I don't know, she looked like she was white and Asian together. She looked older than me. She was just good looking. She had a body. She was like my height. She was just fine as hell. I remember immediately letting my girlfriend at the time, Bran, I remember letting her hand go. I just let it go. And I was just amazed. So as the party went on, I started talking to her. Her name was Anna. I forgot her last name. But her name was Anna. She was cool. She was funny. I don't remember an accent. I wish I did, but I don't remember an accent. And at the time, I didn't have a keen ear for Slavic accents at all. I didn't know anything. Not a word of the language, nothing really. So I don't remember her having an accent, but we were talking and stuff. And I asked her where she was from, and she said she was from Ukraine. At this point, I really didn't know anything about what a Ukraine was. And yeah, I said a Ukraine because that's how I thought of it at the time. I was like, what's a Ukraine? I didn't understand. But she told me, it's a small country near Russia, and they speak a language similar to Russian and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. And that same day during the party, she invited me to the store. And just me and her left my girlfriend in the apartment, which is completely fucked up. But I figured because of all the things she did to me that this is fine. Fuck it. So we walked, and she gave me her number, and we decided to hang out another time. And I was very excited because I was really into her. She was wearing like an all black outfit, this tight skirt, and she was just gorgeous. Red hair. She was just amazing to me. I could not believe how attractive she was. And prior to this, I was always into Italian American girls and Irish American girls. Those are my favorite, you know what I mean? But she changed that. And one visit, one look That's when I said to myself, I gotta meet more Russian and Ukrainian girls. Just one side of her, and once I found out where she was from, I said, this is it. And I remember she had a nice apartment. Her apartment was in Sheepshead Bay, which is a Russian area of Brooklyn. And I don't remember if it's the first time or not, but she invited me and some of my friends to her place for a party because she had parties every weekend. Her place was known to be like a party spot, so casual that if you knew people, you could just walk in anytime Friday or Saturday night. You could just walk in. You don't have to call or nothing. You just walk in and you know there's a party. But you know not to do that like on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Everyone knows. But she had parties so frequently, like on Fridays or Saturday nights, you could just walk in any time of night. Any time of night. You can't walk in like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's fucked up. But like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight, you could just walk in. As long as people know you, no one's going to say anything. You just walk in. But the issue I had with her was she liked to do drugs. Her and her friends did a lot of drugs. I didn't join them in this drug shit. At the time, I didn't drink either. I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs. So that kinda, I think, made her lose some interest in me. But as I spent time with her, I remember one day we were holding hands, we were kissing and stuff. You know, I really started to like this girl. And I remember hearing her speak Russian on the phone with her mom. That was interesting to me. It was interesting because I didn't find anything special about the language. I just found it cool that she had another language she could speak. I didn't have that growing up. We only spoke English. I didn't have another language I could speak in front of people when I did not want them to understand me. So one night, as she was drinking and doing stuff, she was a little closer to me than usual. And she wanted to take me to the balcony. And so we go out to the balcony. The only problem I had at this time that a lot of people didn't know was that I was a virgin. I didn't lose my virginity until I was 20. I was a virgin, and I was very, very, very shy. I don't know. It's not that I was scared of vagina or anything like that. You know, it's just I just wasn't ready to do it. I just was not ready to do it. Like whenever a girl came close and she, you know, wanted to do it, took my pants off, like I could be excited prior to it, but as soon as we're naked, I just lose interest. I don't know why it happens so often. I just quickly lost interest and I didn't actually want to do it. I just wanted to kiss and cuddle. So long story short, she takes me out to the balcony and I disappoint her. And that was the last time we ever spent time together. That night she tried to have sex with me and it didn't happen. I mean, I was hurt by the situation a little bit. I was only hurt a little bit was because, only reason it was only a little bit was because I knew she was into drugs. And no matter how much I like somebody, no matter how in love I've been, my logic never cut off. You know, and it helped to ease my heart, you know, a little faster than it would have been if she didn't do drugs, of course. So with all the drugs and drinking, I just thought to myself, it's not a big deal, whatever, you know. I'm sure there's other Russian, Ukrainian girls out there that you can meet and you can be happy with. And also around this time, I started watching MMA, mixed martial art fighting. I started watching that. And my favorite fighter before he was champion, this guy I liked a lot, his name was Fedor. And this Fedor guy, what I liked about him before he was even champion, and I've been and this was way back. This is before almost anyone knew Fedor. This is back where he was fighting in Japan and he used to come out to a Ukrainian flag. That's right, people. If you don't know, Fedor used to be represented by a Ukrainian flag when he fought in Kings and all that stuff in Japan where you couldn't punch, you could only hit with like your palms. Go look up the videos. He used to come out to a Ukrainian flag. One thing I liked about him, and the main thing I liked about him, was that he reminded me of Hannibal Lecter. He had no emotions. He had no emotions. To me, it kind of made me look at him as if he was a god almost, because no one scared him. It's like he didn't care. It's like other guys, fighters, would stare at each other and try to like make them scared, but he never did that. He was just calm all the time. Then he'll get to fighting, and he would just fuck anybody up. He was amazing. He was an idol to me. I loved this guy way back before anyone else did. And then I found out he was from Ukraine. And at the time, just so to say, I kind of saw Ukraine and Russia as two different things, just Ukraine as the little brother. And I kind of I found out he was from Ukraine. I thought that was cool, and I used to pay, I used to buy his fights, on pay-per-view and invite my friends over to watch him. I remember we watched Mirko Cro Cop fight Fedor. That was the best fight I've seen in my life to this day. That shit was incredible. It was so exciting. I remember I had my girlfriend with me. I think it was Brianne. I was going crazy. Like, Bree, look. She's like, I see. I was just so excited. So yeah, Fedor was amazing. But what's interesting about Fedor and Anna is that they both made me want to go to Ukraine. Visiting Ukraine, yeah, I've wanted to visit Ukraine. I've always wanted to visit Ukraine ever since I was 18. And then the need or the feeling to visit Ukraine got stronger when I met my first girlfriend, Vera. Now, Vera was a girl who I was introduced to by a friend of mine. And she was just gorgeous, better looking than Anna, better looking than any girl I've ever been with. She was thin, crazy waist-hip ratio, fit as hell, blue eyes, dirty blonde hair. She had this little ear thing that was kind of cute, a little ear thing. Like one of her ears was a little different than the other, kind of like a dog. You know how some dogs have like that one ear that hangs? It's hard to explain, but it was kind of cute. And I met her, and I remember when I met her, and she was Ukrainian and stuff, I was like, oh, I love Ukrainian girls, blah, blah, blah. And I remember by the time I met her, I was already teaching myself to read Russian. I was already teaching myself when I first met her. So I knew certain words and stuff. I didn't know that much, but I knew certain words, important words that I felt I needed to know. I knew maybe 20 of them, which was a lot to me at the time. And the first day we met, we hung out, and, it went well. But I remember after I saw her that one day, I remember having a dream that we went out and we hung out in a park somewhere on the grass, and we kissed in the grass. Now, you got to understand, at this time, I had really low self-esteem when it came to women. It's funny because at this time, everyone thought I was a ladies' man. Everyone thought I was a ladies' man. Sure, maybe a lot of girls did like me. Maybe I did, hang out with a good amount of girls. But what they didn't know was that I was too shy to have sex with them. I could have had a lot of girlfriends, but I just couldn't have sex with them. When they would try, I just I just couldn't do it. No matter how attracted I was to them, I just couldn't do it. But all that changed when I met Vera. All that changed when I met Vera. I was able to do anything she wanted me to. Anything. And she was a really, really good girlfriend, so to say. Very good girlfriend. And I used to always talk to her about visiting Ukraine and stuff like that. And, one day I want to do it. That feeling to go to Ukraine was very strong with me at this time. At this time, I'm about 20. She was 18. And I remember she was kind of a neo-Nazi. I remember that shit. And not just her, some of her family, too. I remember that. She was kind of a neo-Nazi. And my best friends remember that shit, too. Or her MySpace, she had swastikas and stuff. And I would say, if you're kind of neo-Nazi-ish, why are you with me? And she goes, because her family and herself, they don't like Jews. It's not really about black. They don't like Jews. And I was like, all right, and that was my first experience with her. No, that was my first impression of her MySpace, was the swastikas and her kind of being a neo-Nazi. And I know I'm not making that shit up because my best friends remember that shit. And if any of them right now are listening to this audio, they know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That chick was on some new shit for real. I mean, she looked good though, but she was on some new shit with that. And our relationship went on for some time. I forgot how long we were together, maybe on and off, 2 years, on and off. I did fuck up a few times. I cheated, not because she wasn't great, but I cheated just because, I've only had sex with one person for like a year. So I was just curious to try some new stuff. I cheated on her with this biracial girl named Bunny. I cheated on her with this lady named Michelle. I cheated on her, I don't know, some more people. And it was fucked up. But it was a great relationship. And I'd like to thank her for everything she's ever done to me. If she'd ever listened to this, I doubt it. But she's amazing. And to this day, I know if I see her, my jaw is just going to drop because I know she's still gorgeous. because that is one beautiful, beautiful girl. And after her, that wasn't the end of it. I did meet other people who were close to me that were Ukrainian or Russian who meant a lot to me. Anya was the next one. Anya was a babysitter of these little Russian kids that I would practice my Russian with. At this time, I'm like 22, 23 almost. Or maybe, no, yeah, 22. And I used to practice my Russian with these kids, basic phrases I'd practice with these kids. And one day they got a new babysitter, and it was Anya. Anya was a Ukrainian girl. She was blonde hair, blue eyes. Interesting body. Like, she had very, very wide hips, but she didn't have a big butt. She had very wide hips, small waist, but not a big butt. It was very strange. No ass, but just really wide hips. And some people were very attracted to her. She had a unique look. So it's basically with Anya, it's either you were really attracted to her or you thought she was really like not attractive. She had a very unique look. I can't really explain it. Maybe I'll show a picture. I will show a picture. It's a very unique look. It's hard for me to explain, right? So me and Anya were chilling, and she needed help because her baby, not her babysitter, what do you call it? She was working, taking care of her family. She was a babysitter. So I guess her host, father, or her boss, whatever, was kind of being a dick. And she needed a place to go. And I lived in a big ass house. So what did I do? I took her in, charged her a little bit for rent. I was always a hustler. Trust me, I was always a hustler. I charged her a little bit for rent, and she lived there. And I was so comfortable with Anya. I remember me coming home at times, and when I was tired from the gym or something, I would take a shower, immediately just go lie down on her lap and just fall asleep. And she would just sit there on her laptop, and I'd just fall asleep right on her leg. No, at times she was almost like a big sister to me. Because like me and my real sister never really got along, but she did the job. She was amazing. She was a little older than me, yeah. But she was amazing, a great person. She also told me a lot about Ukraine. She helped me learn Russian. And she was actually the one who first told me about Vkontakte, which is the Russian Facebook. I immediately made an account. But at that time, Vkontakte was only in Russian. So it helped me to read Russian very well. It helped me to read it. Because I've been on Vkontakte for 7 years at least now. At least 7 years. I've had it for a long time. And didn't have any friends really till 4 years ago. And I'll get to that later. And, we just really got along, And from her spawned a new phenomenon in my life, which was basically a new hustle, which I started renting the rooms out in my house. And most of the people I rented the rooms out to, 90% of the time were either Russian or Ukrainian females. It's not that I really have a problem with guys. We had these two guys who lived with us who were Russian. They were cool. My father was a little nervous because he thought they were gay because they wore cut jean shorts and had purses. But in Russia, that's kind of normal. I didn't know that at the time. None of us knew that. Me and my brother, we didn't know. We just thought they were gay, but my father was nervous that they would have sex in the house. I'm like, just put earplugs on. I'm the one who lives next to them. But they weren't gay. They were just Russian, and we didn't understand the things they did. Like, they went to the gym in sandals. And I see that in Russia. So it's something you don't really see in America. And they live there, but I basically got to know so many Russian and Ukrainian girls, so many, just an abundance of them. And they usually knew me. From my VK page, and they would hear about me from word of mouth. They said, "Oh, I hear you have rooms in Brooklyn and blah blah blah. We're gonna come and stay with you." And I was like, "Yeah, come down." And at one point, I had like at least 7 girls living there. I remember this one girl named Kate, who I met, and her friends went to live there at my place in Brooklyn, and the whole floor was nothing but Russian girls. There's literally 7 of them. In 4 rooms, 7 in total. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, excuse me, 8 in total, staying on that one floor. And because there were so many girls living with me, I decided to leave and move into my grandmother's apartment in Queensbridge, the projects. This is when I decided to move to the projects. Now, at this point, I was studying a good amount of Russian and stuff. I was having fun. I wanted to learn more Russian to help rent rooms and stuff. And my Russian was pretty good at this time. Speaking was much better than it is now because I actually studied some grammar at the time. And I was understanding, not as much as I understand now, but I understood a fair amount. At least I dealt with the business of renting rooms and stuff like that. And then I moved to Queensbridge, and that was a different environment than where I lived in Kensington. Queensbridge was a rough area. Not as rough as it was in the 90s, but it was still kind of rough, you know what I mean? I didn't have any friends there. You know, people looked at me like I was weird, you know, because I dressed kind of goth sometimes, and yeah, they weren't feeling that. They were not feeling that. They didn't like it, you know, and I mean, no one really touched me, but people would make comments and shit as I walked past, you know, and I just ignored it. I've always been the kind of guy to just ignore people, you know, when they say shit. I'm like, you know, people can say anything they want, but if they ain't doing nothing, it has no effect on me. I don't care. You know, I'm like Fedor and Hannibal. My emotions, you know, don't get the best of me. So as I was living there, things were going good. You know, summertime came, right? I forgot where I was supposed to go. Summertime came. And when summertime came, I started partying. And as I started partying in the summer, what did I do? Well, I started to meet girls. And, you know, I'm into white girls, so most of the girls I met were white. A lot of them were Russian, a lot of them were Ukrainian, a lot of them were German and Austrian. And I would bring them over the apartment. And as I did that, guys in my neighborhood started to notice me with them, and they started being real cool to me. I remember this one drug dealer guy named Kat. You know, he was the biggest drug dealer on the block, and we started hanging out a little bit because he saw me with all these girls. So this dude would start hanging out with me. And that meant I didn't have nothing to worry about because as long as I introduced him to girls, I was good because he didn't know how to meet white girls except through me. You know what I mean? So that was pretty crazy. And I remember one special memory I have. One special memory I have in that apartment that deals with this Russian and Ukrainian stuff. It's still, to this day, it's still probably top 5 best memories I have in my life. No, easily top 3. I had a crush on these twins. They were twins from Contacted. They were Russian twins, both with big asses. Both big butt twins, both of them. They're big asses, tan skin, twerkers, all that. This was years ago before twerking was big in Russia. And I've always had a crush on them. But I had a girlfriend. Which girlfriend did I have deleted? Wow, it was so long ago. I think it was some girl I was dating made me delete them from contact at one point. And then one day, my favorite one, I contacted her and I said, sorry I deleted you. Let's talk. Let's be friends again. She said, oh no, you deleted me. Why should I talk to you? And I was like, come on, let's just talk again. You know, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. Let's just be friends, you know, something, something. She goes, okay, I forgive you. And I remember saying, all right, so where are you? Are you still traveling around Russia? Are you ever going to come to America one day? And she goes, I'm in New York right now. And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, I'm in New York. I'm like, you're kidding. She takes a picture, sends it to me, shows me that she's in New York. I lose my shit. But I know I'm not that cool in America. There's black guys everywhere. They have nice cars and all this shit, blah, blah, blah. But I decided to try my luck. I said, hey, can we hang out sometime? And to my surprise, she goes, sure. And she said I could be there at 11. And I was like, what? So 11 o'clock comes, I'm skateboarding my ass down the project, skateboarding so fast to go get them and bring them back to the apartment for some niggas try to do some crazy shit. And I get there and I see her. She's not with her sister, she's with her friend. But I see her. The girl I've had a huge just crush on for just so long. And sorry, let me stop for a second and say, I shouldn't even address this. I just want to say this to make some people look stupid. Some dudes were complaining that I use the word crush. Like I had a crush on this girl, crush on that girl. They say only girls say that. Well, tell that to Biggie Smalls, dumbass, who had a song called Crush on You. All right? But anyway, going back to the story. I saw her and her friend Yevgenia. Now, Yevgenia was really, really pretty. She didn't have an ass, but she was so gorgeous. Blue eyes, blonde hair, just so gorgeous. But I didn't care. My eyes were all on Maria. That acid, I just saw on it. And when I brought them back to the crib, dudes were just losing their shit as I tried to walk them back. They're like helping me carry their bags, and dudes were like, I don't know, it's like, have you ever seen that movie? Was it A Bronx Tale? What movie was it? No, I don't think it was A Bronx. It was Goodfellas, I believe. And how everyone was so nice, and how, I think it was one of the two. Or it could be, no. It was Bronx Tale when Calogero, when he started hanging out with the mafia guys and they started being nice to him, like, here, take some extra fruit or this, and that. It's okay, you don't have to pay. That's how niggas were acting when I brought them home. Dudes were offering me everything, weed, all this shit. I was like, I don't smoke, you know? But people were being really, really nice to me. So she stayed with me for some time, for like a week. And then to my surprise, her sister came to New York. And she stayed as well. And we partied, all three of us. And it was one of the best times I've ever had in my life. You know, that it gave me so much confidence. And I missed them both. I miss them both very much, but they're both moms now. You know, they moved on with their lives, which is cool. You know, I'm still kind of a kid. I'm single, running around, having fun, but it was incredible. And at this point, I still never thought about actually going to Russia. It was not a thought in my mind, did not want to do it. There was nothing attractive for me about going to Russia, nothing. It's New York. We have girls of all kinds. Why go to Russia for girls or anything like that? Still never crossed my mind. Then I met this one girl who just turns out to be my future wife. She was a cool girl. Let's just call her Nelly. She's a tall, blonde, curvy, twerking girl from Russia. She was young. She was 19, you know, she was pretty and stuff. At this time, I'm like 24. She was curvy and all that stuff. No, real gorgeous girl, you know, real nice, real nice. Long story short, I don't want to get into that too much, you know, because she, you know, being with her had nothing to do with me going to Russia. But living with her, she did talk to me about Russia a lot. You know, she told me about it a lot. I still never wanted to go, never had a hankering or anything to go to Russia. You know, I was happy doing my acting thing in New York. I was doing movies and stuff when I was with her. Was when I got into Spider-Man, and it was just beautiful, you know. But I just remember her telling me things about Russia. And she would usually tell me the bad things about Russia. Because I don't think she liked, well, obviously, she didn't like living in Russia much at all. She would always tell me the bad things. So I would have nightmares about Russia. Whenever I dreamed about Russia, I would have nightmares. Like, I remember one nightmare I had where I just got to Russia and I went in a hotel. And as I walked to the hotel, I turned around. Outside of the hotel is like a bunch of dudes just like with signs like, we're going to kill you and all this stuff, we're going to get you and all this shit. And I'm like, holy fuck, you know? And I remember that dream because in the dream, I stayed inside the hotel all day trying to figure out a way to get back to America because I was afraid of being killed, you know? And that's just one of the dreams I had about me being in Russia. And that's just the nightmare that stands out in my head more than all the others. So she would tell me all the reasons why she doesn't want to go back to Russia and all the stuff, and it just really just lowered the odds of me ever going to Russia than they already were. You know, at this time, I wanted to go to Ukraine. I remember me and my friend at this time were talking about making a YouTube channel and becoming popular until we can be invited to Ukraine. We called the project No Sleep Till Ukraine. It was me and my, like at the time, one of my best friends, Andre Bonnet. Like, we had the dream, no sleep till Ukraine. We got to become popular and stuff so we could go to Ukraine and meet girls and have fun, and the tickets will be paid for. It was literally our goal, no sleep till Ukraine. That's what we called it. We didn't even know what we were going to do in the YouTube channel. You know, we were just like, yo, come on, let's do something. Let's get it popping. And so at this time, you know, I'm thinking of ideas, go to Ukraine and stuff, but I never really thought it would happen. You know, we were just fucking around. We were just young, trying to be special with our lives, trying to figure something out, you know. And so this is around the time where I meet someone and it changes everything. But I don't want to get into that because that's going to be the first chapter, when I meet someone and it changes everything. Basically, I just want you guys to have some background from this. I want you to have some background and to understand what I was like before I ever actually thought about going to Ukraine or Russia. I always wanted to go to Ukraine, but before I actually ever thought about going to Russia, because I thought Russia was like the big evil country. I remember one time in high school, like, I was never really into history. I was never really into it. But I remember learning about World War II. And I remember when I heard the teacher, like usually the teacher or student, like reading from the textbook, and like I wasn't really paying attention, but I remember hearing, and then Germany invaded Russia. And I remember saying, what? And like in my head, I was like, what? And I look at the book and I start reading along because I was like, that had to be crazy. Germany and Russia were fighting each other. That had to be one of the most deadliest, brutal battles or wars in history, which it actually was. But I just remember, like Germany, you have the strong, evil Hitler and all these white guys who think they're better than everyone else. Then on the other side, you have Russia. They're very cultural and evil. I thought Russia and Germany were evil, but Ukraine was nice. I didn't know anything at the time. But I was like, oh, then you have Russia. They're evil, but there's so many of them. They're like a bunch of monsters. And then in Germany, you have not so many people, but extremely good technology. This is going to be crazy. And it was crazy, and it was crazy. So that's basically all I really have to say about this. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. This is all the things I kind of went through. And then there's one last thing to mention before I go. I guess, yeah, I can say this in the introduction because this didn't make me want to go to Russia at all, so I can say it now. One night I was home with my wife, and like I said, I do acting. I did acting. I've been a Screen Actors Guild member for many years now. And my Russian Jewish friend made a YouTube show called Baba Fira, Babafira, called Baba Fira. And he made this YouTube show, and it was a success. It was a success. He got like 50,000 views in 4 days. And that's amazing for your first video. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And at this time, not many people had YouTube and stuff, it was still coming up. So that shit was just incredible. He was like a god for all of us background actors and stuff. But what was interesting was at this time, my Russian was decent. So I remember telling my wife, I said, I bet you he's going to call me. I said, I bet you he's going to call me. I promise you he's going to call me to do something here. I bet you. So then he did part 2. Part 2 was okay. Then sure enough, after he released part 2, I got a call. He wanted me in part 3. I went to his place. I did part 3 in one take. If you go watch Baba Fira part 3, I did that shit in one take. All the Russian I spoke, all of that was one take. No script, no nothing. It was just straight raw. It was my first time acting, speaking Russian, and just talking off my head. Now remember, I'm a black guy in America who's never had a Russian lesson. Still to this day, never had a Russian lesson. Never been to Russia, never wanted to go to Russia, never thought about it. Only had nightmares about it. But I'm improvising in Russian in one take, and they kept it. Then they released the episode, and reading all the comments, anyone who said anything about the black guy, it was always something good. Like, the black guy speak Russian, that's cool, funny, haha, the black guy, blah, 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 blah. And so from that, it gave me the idea to make my own YouTube channel speaking in Russian in hopes of being invited to Ukraine. But things don't always go as planned. Because about after that, little time after I started that YouTube channel, I met somebody who changed everything. And I'll get to that next time, guys, with chapter 1. And that's basically, how long did I film this shit? God, I can't even cut my phone on. All right, there we go. And I'm out, yes. Later.